What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.
It's Tuesday night, and that can only mean one thing, that you are here locked in with us at FantasyPoints.com and at the Fantasy Points YouTube channel. It's going to be a fantastic evening. Today, we're discussing ADP. Now, we have been told online and really everywhere that the market is getting sharper. And, I'm just not so sure. So we are going to have two different ways that we are going to test this. Of course, we have a game that is going to look at 2022 ADP. We're going to look at 2024 ADP and see who might be in the next version of this trivia game 2 years from now. We also have some players to buy into, some players to fade at their current ADP now that me and the gang have figured out what ADP we're going to look at with so many sources. So we're going to go over that. It was a fun pre-show meeting if you're wondering why we got a late start. Of course, if you're here and you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe. We have a ton of traffic, and honestly, you got to be hitting that subscribe button to stay notified with everything we're doing, because with franchise focus and everything else going on, it's nonstop right here. I, of course, am your host with the most time on his hands. I am Tom Sibley. You can find me at El Nostra Thomas. My fun fact of the day is that our guest today, Derek Brown, is the only person this show has ever booked date and time and topic live on the air.
I'm Jakob Sanderson. My fun fact today is that your Boston Celtics are currently up 9 in game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. This is the year. This is the year. Don't worry. My focus is 100% on the task at hand.
For now.
This podcast. I promise.
Yeah, for now.
My name's Lucas Gilbert. You can find me on X at LGilbertFF. And my sad fact of the day is that there will not be a repeat NBA champion for 6 champions in a row now, because my Denver Nuggets are no longer in there. So thank you for that, Jacob. Good luck to you all, but I'm also slightly not rooting for you, so more people can be sad with me.
Fair enough. Nobody roots for the Celtics except Celtics fans. It's us against the world.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Here we go. I mean, my name's right here. If you don't know it, yeah, well, there you go. But my fun fact of the day, because I was tasked with this right before we went live, is I'm actually an ordained minister, for those unaware. So if you need to get married at the expo, I got you covered.
You and Reggie White, he was the minister of defense. You're the minister of podcasting.
Hey, I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
Yeah, you should be doing IDP, Derek, so you could still be the minister of fantasy defense. There you go. That's your next path when you need something else on your ridiculously busy plate that I'm now volunteering you for. Of course, we love to answer questions on this show. Today, we don't know if we're going to be able to get to them. However, if you have one and you leave them, and as always, you enter hashtag Dynasty Points here in the comments, I will take note of them and go out of my way to find you at the Fantasy Points Discord and answer those questions. I'll also answer them on YouTube post. If we don't get to them, we are for the people. Without you, there's no show. And that's just the way it is. Okay, let's start this off, because right now a ton of drafts are happening. It's all over the place. It's the bee's knees. Aside from best ball, it's what the people are talking about. The best ball bros are just built way different. So let's talk about how we can help people legitimately find players that can win you leagues, that are really that big of a value. We'll start positive and work our way to the negative. So Derek, I want to know from you the player you have selected that currently sits at a spot that you think is just too good to pass up.
I don't really understand what we're doing with Jermaine Burton at wide receiver 63 in startup ADP right now. That is a dramatic miscalculation to me. I don't know what else we need to see from this. Like, we got landing spot, we got decent draft capital. He's 63 in current startup ADP. He's my wide receiver 43. And we've seen a quarterback and an offensive situation support 3 top 36, top 40 wide receivers. So why we aren't even with T. Higgins if you put him there. Why are we not putting Jermaine Burton into that same type of bucket? But it's not happening. I just don't get it, guys. I mean, Burton's got all the chops to be higher in ADP, whether you want to talk about the analytics, when you talk about film, you talk about his landing spot. Draft capital was not a coffin nail, although a lot of people walking into the NFL draft thought it would be. I just don't get it, man. I really don't get it.
Yeah, it's a case where we got kind of everything we wanted, best case scenario.
And still people are like, I don't like it. So why?
I think it's going to be one of those ones where I'm not sure how they're going to align this year. You know, if they're going to move Chase in the slot and 3 wide sets, or if they're going to rotate things around.
That's what I think. I think Chase can be a slot.
I think that the perception, and we'll see whether this becomes the reality. I think the perception is that it's a 2025 landing spot where he's kind of in a borderline redshirt year with the 2 big outside wide receivers that they have, and then he comes in next year. I mean, I don't mind taking that kind of bet, because I do think in this offense, we see how the market treats players playing in a Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow, any of these offenses, very favorably, right? And I think that it's pretty easy for Jermaine Burton to, almost regardless of what he does this year, unless he pulls the QJ where he gets all the injuries and then does nothing. I think it's going to be easier for people to apply some level of helium to his price going into next year. I think his college profile is interesting. I drafted him a bunch. I had him ranked, I think, at the 209 in my rankings, and that was easily enough to get him at 25-30% of my rookie drafts. I'm pretty excited about him.
I don't think I found a way to have enough of them.
If I may speak for the people here and why he's this low, it's because coming out of college, there were not a lot of positive reviews about Jermaine Burton, the player. And if you watched Alabama this last season, their offense didn't do enough in the passing game consistently to get people excited about him. Yes, I know that his efficiency numbers are way better than his raw volume stats. So that's something for us to look at. But he has all the makings right now, I think, of being somebody who can move 15, maybe even 20 spots between right now and your start of season ADPs, whenever this thing's all said and done. Just because as the community's getting more exposure on him, more people are listening to the smart guys on Fantasy Football Podcast who are hyping him up a lot. He's going to start rising. People are going to see more of those camp videos. So he's somebody who I think right now you're getting early 3rd, late 2nd round pick in your rookie drafts. He's somebody who's going to be going maybe even early 2nd. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts jumping Ricky Pearsall in rookie drafts if you have a super late rookie draft. But I mean, he's going to really skyrocket in value.
I just don't get it, man, because it's I feel like all the downside of T. Higgins signing long-term there is what's baked into everywhere, where he goes in rookie drafts, where he's at in startup drafts right now. But none of the upside and even none of the contingent value, even if T. Higgins stays, what if he's honestly just better than T. Higgins? And I don't think that's crazy to say. His final season numbers were also capped. And maybe I'll just put this into Milroe is not good as a passer. That just needs to be talked about. So we attach all this stuff to also wide receivers. We talk about their influence by their college passers. I can point out multiple games on film where it's Burton's just dusting dudes and Milroe is airmailing his ass the entire time. It's I just want to see a lot of, put it this way, I don't see a lot of differences in the situation, and Jacob kind of hit it on this earlier, with Xavier Worthy. You have a 1-year deal for a wide receiver. You have another guy who's entrenched. Yes, there's a big difference between Rashee Rice and Jamar Chase, but also the difference between freaking Jermaine Burton is in the 60s for wide receivers. And yes, there's a draft capital difference, but you're telling me the difference should be that wide between wide receiver freaking 25 and 63 in startups? Hell no. Hell no.
I'll make the comp. I think we saw a lot of similar profiles this year with bigger wide receivers that had sparks of interest in their production profiles and other question marks. And Burton, we can get into litigating the specific differences, but Burton, I think, falls into this group from a Brian Thomas to an Adonai Mitchell to a Keon Coleman into a Xavier Leggett into Jermaine Burton. And it's what aspects do you prioritize, right? Are you looking at early production versus peak production? Are you looking at per route production? Are you looking at efficiency? Are you looking at raw target share? whatever you want to look at, you can find question marks, you can find upside. To me, outside of the draft capital aspect, he's pretty comparable with this group of wide receivers. You are getting probably the best landing spot on him, maybe not for immediate, but certainly for 2025 forward. I mean, I'll just say it. Like, the Bengals are not. The Bengals are a cash to cap franchise. They don't pay dudes. They're not paying T. Higgins. Like,
No,
this isn't the
not.
Eagles where they're willing to restructure contracts and pay Devonta Smith and pay AJ Brown and pay Jalen Hurts. Like, that's just not how the Bengals operate. I think they've telegraphed what their plan has been the whole time, which was, if a team offers us enough where the difference between the trade compensation and the comp pick is worth enough for us to forego T. Higgins in 2024, we'll take it. Nobody offered that level of compensation, so they're going to ride him out, and then they're going to probably tag and trade him or let him walk.
I love that point, Jacob, because that's exactly, like, I have him ahead of all of those guys. So I do think it's kind of like a pick your flavor type of thing, but I have him ahead of Brian Thomas Jr. I have him ahead of Xavier Leggett. And I know people that are just like so tied to draft capital will hate that.
Yeah.
But if Burton didn't have the off-field stuff, he would not have gone in the freaking third round. So the draft capital conversation, like, when we apply some context to that, it becomes not as big of a conversation to me. And I agree with a ton of that. And here's the other thing, man, and I'm not trying to put the damn tinfoil hat on, but T. Higgins hasn't even signed his damn tender yet. Like, what if he holds out? What if he pulls a Jonathan Taylor? Like, can we definitively say that will not happen? I can't.
Well, it's also one of those things too, right? You get 7 weeks into the year, T. Higgins has done pretty good. All of a sudden, the back tightens up, the hamstring tightens up. You know, his shoulder's not feeling so good. You know what I mean? And he does the sit out at that point. Someone's going to pay him, right? So again, Burton being here, there's just some guys that I don't understand him being near. Quentin Johnston, DeAndre Hopkins, Jacoby Myers, Cortland Sutton, Roman Wilson, Jahan Dotson, Austin Eckler. It's just a bunch of guys that I think I would rather have Burton over a lot of these guys. So I think you're right. I think that's a perfect start to this.
We're really hitting our pace marks as per usual. We've gotten a solid 12 minutes. One player. That's it, baby. Dynasty points.
Right.
We're cooking.
Oh, were you expecting to go quickly because you had my loud ass mouth on this show?
That's
no
what we
better than
do
that,
here.
baby. Come on.
Hey, a shout out and a testament to every single person that's watching these shows and hitting the like button and commenting and subscribing. The last 2 Dynasty Point shows that have gone an hour and 20 and an hour and 45 are 2 of our most watched live streams out there. So if you thought that this pace was changing, no, you're wrong. And with that, I just do want to take our first mandatory break now that we've got one player down. If I don't, Trey will find me. He will hunt me down. So we're going to take a quick 2-second break on the live feed, a little longer for the audio feed. And when we come back, we're going to get Jacob's player that he's buying to ADP. And I doubt that one's going to be 12 minutes or less. Sit tight. Okay, Jacob, we're back. And to the people that are here and liking, subscribing, rating on the podcast, remember that it's really, really important. As Tyler points out, you have to hit the like and sub buttons or the feds will raid Jacob's home and steal his sleepers list, lest it see the light of day.
Well, they tried to steal his internet pre-show, so
correct.
Remember, for the record, the feds in my case are the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, so there will just be horsemen galloping.
Do they come in on horses, Jacob? How does that work?
Right up to the front door.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Our families need Timbits and our coffee. You need to like and subscribe so our families can continue to eat. So please do that. But Jacob, let's get your player at ADP so we can keep this rolling.
So the guy I was originally going to say when I logged into the show sheet was already claimed. And I don't know by which one of you, but one of you is going to mention him. So I had to pivot and take a different player. And I'm going to stick with the wide receiver theme. This is not a guy I particularly have been on for a lot of time in his career, but he's my most drafted best ball player right now. And he's going to become a major dynasty trade target. Down in the 4th round, top of the 4th round, wide receiver 14 is Jaylen Waddle. Comes off a year last year in which his peripherals finally elevated to the elite level that I would have actually liked to see. has 0.27 targets per route run. That's clearly a career high. 2.63 yards per route run. That's equal to Amon-Ra St. Brown, right ahead of Puka Nacua, right behind CeeDee Lamb, totally in this elite range of where he's been, in my opinion, kind of been overdrafted. But he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. He leaves a lot of games kind of hurt, comes back. And all of a sudden, this sort of what I view as peripherally kind of a breakout year actually becomes a year in which he's lost quite a lot of value. And the most important thing for his raw production, 1 year closer to Tyreek Hill potentially pulling the black marble out of the bag, potentially moving on. And whenever you get a glimpse, like we did in the Jets game last season, of what a Jaylen Waddle opportunity looks like without Tyreek Hill in the game, it's completely explosive. So he's a guy that I think you could buy now. You're going to see major regression from, in my opinion, positively this year. He's always been a plus fantasy points over expectation player until this past year. And you're buying into a guy that is going to have potential to really elevate into the hyper elite range, in my opinion, once Tyreek Hill moves on.
Yeah, we did a video years ago that said, why draft Jaylen Waddle in round 2? Jaylen Waddle is your wide receiver 1 was no bueno for me then. Jaylen Waddle is your wide receiver 2 or 3 on your team right now that you can actually get. Like, he's falling behind some aging running backs, which I'm with you. I have not exactly been a buy Jaylen Waddle guy because the cost never added up to me. But at this point, yeah, I agree. Because as much as I don't think Tyreek is actually retiring to go and do porn next year with the new child support that man is about to have to be paying, it is still possible because we don't know anything. So with his ADP that we're looking at, I agree. Jaylen Waddle's a massive buy for me. You didn't steal him from me, but I definitely agree. 4th round Jaylen Waddle, I'm all in. Comments?
It's not that I don't like. I agree with the sentiment around Waddle. The only thing I worry about is, does the type of year last year continue into this year? And only because like the end of the season numbers looked really good for Waddle, but the per game, like if you had to roster him in any league where you had to like start him and not a best ball function, it was tough, man. Like 57% of his games were out. He was outside the weekly scoring. He was outside the top 24 wide receivers, and he got like no end zone usage or as far as end zone targets. So that's my only concerns. Like I will not shade at all the talent or Tyreek leaving or who Waddle is as a player. I just worry, as much as we saw them consolidate on Tyreek last year, and the other thing that I'll bring up here too is that, and I don't think that these are like immense like difference making players that they've added to the offense, but if he didn't have much of a red zone role and Tyreek took up so much of the offense last year, now the addition of Geno Smith and Odell Beckham, I think, can it hurt what he does this year in the sense of Odell Beckham? I don't think he's going to be a full-time player, but when he's on the field, does he get pull away even more or just as much red zone looks, even if we were hoping for regression? And, I mean, outside of this offense, they had nobody, like, in the passing game outside of those two guys. So it was like, why did Waddle get such a small piece compared to as far as, like, high leverage and what he had done in previous seasons? And that's where my concerns are. I love the player, and I'm pretty much in line with this as far as, like, I have him at wide receiver 16 in my ranks for Dynasty. So, like, I'm not off. I've got a few more concerns about Waddle and what his this year outlook especially looks like in terms of his value. Like, could I go out and buy him even cheaper maybe towards the end of this season if it plays out that way? I guess is my only worry.
I think it's fair. I think the insane touchdown rate to the running backs, I think is partly to blame for the perhaps the Waddle touchdownage, which I don't think that continues. I think it's so astronomically insane what those running backs did with the touchdowns, especially the passing game inside the 10-yard line with the little flip inside pass that the Dolphins were able to run at impunity until the end of the year. I think that's part of it. I'm not concerned about OBJ. Ravens fans, we know that he's cooked. Like, it's over. And Jonu's been cooked for quite a while. So for terms of like pure upside week to week, you're getting him in the 4th round. I think that's the important part. If he slips even more, I mean, at that point, how invested do I want to be 4 or 5 years in if he still at this point can't maintain that value? Is that DJ Moore season from last year coming for him? I don't know. We know he's hashtag good at football. He's one of the more explosive players, and he has 40-point week upside. Now imagine if they just gave him a good quarterback. Oh my God. Couldn't imagine what that offense could be with a decent quarterback. But I mean, they're about to pay him $50 million, so we may never know. We may never know, and that makes me sad. All right, Waddle, a bye. Lucas, was that your guy? Is that who you had?
No,
No,
I had to go off the board, but I was gonna take.
Okay, perfect. Lucas, who do you got?
All right. So with 2 wide receivers taken, I'm going to save one of my initial thoughts for later. And I'm going to go with the quarterback position. Go with somebody who you can get in the 11th round of your startups right now at QB 30, and that's Mr. Geno Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Just to name some of the quarterbacks.
I like this take. Here, let's go.
Just to name some of the quarterbacks around him. You have Bo Nix at 28, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, Sam Howell. One of these things is not like the other, and one of these things is named Geno Smith. And even last season, he still had a top 5 big throw percentage in the NFL. He has a kind of average ADOT, but he makes up for it by completing so many of those passes. He's top 5 in adjusted completion percentage. I think that Seattle got better this offseason too, which makes it even easier to buy into this narrative that he is going to go in for somebody that would be a quarterback 3 on teams. He is going to be a very solid QB2 that you do not have to pay a QB2 price for. And I understand that Michael Penix Jr. probably is going to have more value after this season. Same with Bo Nix, same with Will Levis, so on and so forth. But I'm going to take his potential for production over any of those guys. And if you can have him that cheap and start stacking some of the other positions on your team, that's just such easy money. If people are going to let this still be a thing, take advantage of it.
It's just the tinfoil hat Sam Howell believers, right? That still think that this man is him. This dude had just all the opportunity, literally all the opportunity, and could not stop handing the ball to the other team on a regular basis. Yet we have our guy Geno in an era of 2 high safeties. You mentioned his hero throw. Well, guess what? I wrote him up as veterans that you want to be buying a little while ago at FantasyPoints.com in my article, and it is insane. This man loves to throw the ball deep. 56 deep throws last year. Still maintained a top 15 completion percentage over expectation. Top 15 adjusted completion percentage, and this man yeet balls on a regular basis. We love that. Big play Geno is someone that Geno has been a favorite of ours for a while. That's not going to stop because Sam Howell came to town. It's just not. However, I will say if you don't want to buy Geno at his price, then draft Sam Howell at his. Pick up one of those two because that offense is going to be solid.
If you're obsessed with Sam Howell, like a bunch of people are, I don't really get it. But whatever, he's cheap enough. I'm not going to make a campaign against a guy who's worth a 3rd round pick. Fine, take your lottery ticket on Sam Howell. Charlie got to go to the chocolate factory and he only bought 1 chocolate bar. Maybe you'll get a quarterback 1 out of it. But I couldn't agree more with everything you said about Geno. I tweeted all the splits a while back with Geno Smith's early down EPA and success rate compared to 3rd downs, and then also focusing in on when not pressured, when pressured. And the overarching conclusion is that the sole reason really why the Seattle offense didn't work out last year is not Geno under pressure, but just how frequently he was under pressure. In essence, every quarterback is worse when pressured versus not pressured. Geno wasn't meaningfully worse when pressured. He was just pressured substantially more often. That especially hit on 3rd downs, which of course increases the variance of your offense, and negatively so in this case. So that's where I'm at with Geno. I think he's a massive buy. He's just a darn good quarterback, and he would need to be a fundamentally different quarterback that he's been the last 3 seasons for him to get benched for Sam Howell. I don't expect it to happen.
Yeah, I'll push back about anybody even having interest in Sam Howell. These 2 guys, they're not like each other at all because one of them actually plays quarterback well and the other one sucks. So I don't want quarterbacks that suck, that have no draft capital tied to their names and have already been traded. Like one franchise already had one of these guys as a starter for an entire season and said, he sucks so much, we're just going to trade him and get rid of him. He's not even good enough to be a backup. We'll take the pick. So why would people want Sam Howell? I mean, to me, it's not even a lottery ticket. It's just like literally walking outside and saying, I don't like this $5. I'm just going to burn it. I'm going to set it on fire. Why would I like $5? And I'm with everything Jacob said, because I looked into Geno, because the Seattle offensive line was absolute freaking dog water last year. And to add context to that, he had the 5th highest pressure rate faced last year, 6th highest pressure rate over expectation. And Jacob, I know you probably outlined a lot of this in your tweet, but I pulled the same numbers, man. And it's like, Geno Smith was still amazing last year when they weren't pressuring his ass. Like 5th in yards per attempt, 1st in big time throw, 5th best in PFF passing grade. And I did listen to, this was Brett and Joe Marino's first episode on the Fantasy Points feed the other day, talking about one of the stickiest stats for quarterbacks year over year over year is passer rating from a clean pocket. Last year, Geno Smith, amongst 33 qualifying quarterbacks, was 12th. So he's not bad. The damn offensive line was terrible. And I think they made some pretty solid bets in the offseason on bounce back guys and signings and what they've done for the offensive line that I think pay off this year.
And just hopefully not getting super injured on the offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is like none of us know what Seattle is going to be as an offense. Like, I think everybody takes this loose narrative of, well, their head coach is defensive minded, so they're going to run a lot. Dude, nobody knows that shit. Nobody knows if any of that's going to come true. They signed their offensive coordinator, literally had Michael Penix back there just gripping and ripping and chucking the shit down the field last year in college. How do we know that that's not going to be what Seattle is this year? Nobody knows that. And if anybody tells you that, they're full of shit.
Yeah. And with Pete being gone, what's great about him being under pressure a lot, which is 40%, it was 40% of his dropbacks. He was still only sacked 14% of those. He was only sacked 14% of those pressure dropbacks. That's the 3rd lowest rate. He was only behind Mahomes and Josh Allen. So even when you pressure him, he is mobile enough, scrambles enough, and can get the ball deep after pressure has been applied still. So we obviously, Jacob went off right on the offensive coordinator from last year in one of the most epic rants that I can remember in recent memory. He's not there. So you can breathe some fresh air.
No, Caleb Williams gets him this year. So, hopes for him.
Yeah, rip.
And Bro, just to expound upon what you said with the clean pocket, Geno Smith, 91.3 PFF grade from clean pocket. Sam Howell, 71.6.
But it was just the O-line. It was just the O-line in Washington.
It's over, ladies and gentlemen. It's over.
Where's Sam Howell in the old passer rating from a clean pocket? Oh, look at that. 22nd. That's beautiful. He's living in the same neighborhood as Gardner Minshew. But lovely. And ain't no
But he was QB4. Let's not forget that he was about to be benched by Jacoby Brissett. And Jacoby just couldn't stay healthy through practice. So they were like, well, get in there, kid, I guess. And he lost a lot of people leagues at that point. So yeah, Geno Smith, I think you absolutely nailed it. I can be a little quick with mine. I don't need to be long-winded with mine here. I'm buying Christian Kirk. This is just an automatic draft for me every single time. You're telling me I can get my 4th, 5th, 6th wide receiver 40. He's just, you know what you're going to get, especially if you get a man matchup. We know what he can do. 13 points per game to an expected 12 on any given week. This is a guy that's shown he can get you a 22, a 19, a 16. That doesn't sound sexy, but he is a cheaper version of Chris Godwin. And of course, I want to buy Chris Godwin. I said on the podcast last year, the answer to Ridley versus Kirk was Kirk. And this year, the answer to every other pass catcher on the Jaguars is still Kirk, and you're still getting him.
This was the guy I was planning on taking. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yeah,
It's a name that was at the top of my list when I logged into this sheet, so it was already
He-
taken as well. So I'll throw that
that's
up
the
there.
beauty of writing the sheet, ladies and gentlemen. I get first crack. There we go. But this guy is somebody that in games against man coverage, you're gonna get probably more first looks, 14, 16 points per game in your flex spot and wide receiver spot, especially when people go on bye weeks and get hurt and get nicked up. He's exactly the type of player you need. Not even just with ADP. If you go out and search trades involving Christian Kirk, this man is dirt cheap because there's a little bit of fatigue with him. Everyone mocked him for the big money. There's always seems to be another guy around. Not too concerned about Gabe Davis. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to have a completely different role, and Trevor Lawrence locks in on those wide receivers. He's not 30 or 31. He's in that prime age. Christian Kirk is what everybody wants Jakobi Meyers to be and never will be. And people still love inquiring them some Jakobi Meyers. Focus all your efforts in acquiring Christian Kirk, because this is a legitimate wide receiver that can win you weeks when you need it. I will say, because I'm not just going to give you all the roses about it, zone matchups are not kind. That's still very important. But look, when it comes down to week like 13, 14, 15, half your team's on IR, you're going to be playing him anyway. Go and buy him. He's super cheap. Wide receiver 40. To me, it stands out as just completely egregious to me that he's still sitting there. Round 9. Don't get me wrong, I like Zamir White and Tajay Spears and Ricky Pearsall, but Christian Kirk's the guy.
Yeah, I like that call. I mean, Kirk, it was funny. I was actually DMing with Scott Barrett earlier today about Kirk and stuff, and he was asking me why I'm in on him, and I'm like, so I think he's going to freaking eat this year, man. Like, with last year, weeks 2 through 12, when he was a full-time player because Dougie P wanted to do some goofy shit in week 1, and I think he only played 66% of the snaps. 60% of the snaps. I mean, after that, he was the wide receiver 19 when he was on the freaking field, man. Like, he was on a pace last year in those full games to catch 94 balls and finish with almost 1,300 receiving yards. And this year, it's like, what did they add? Like, Gabe Davis is not going to command a high target share. I'm sorry for people out there that think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to walk in and be an alpha. That shit's not happening. He's probably going to play a similar role to just clear stuff out. And Kirk and Ingram are going to eat underneath, man. So, like, I'm with you. I think Kirk is a huge buy.
Yeah, I've just been hammering Kirk and Ingram as well in the best ball streets. I love Lawrence Price. I mean, just an extraordinarily unlucky season in terms of the amount of touchdowns that were dropped or a foot lands out of bounds. I like betting on this offense to bounce back overall, and I love betting on it through Kirk. Like you said, it just lines up nice. You have 2 vertical receivers who, hopefully can add efficiency, but are not going to be guys who are going to be drawing 20+% targets per route run. That's going to leave a lot of the underneath stuff for Kirk and Ingram. And I think Kirk is going to be the clear cut target leader on the team this year.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like, as far as the coverage stuff Thomas was throwing out, like, I think, like, if you're looking to project this team this year, your single high beaters are going to be like Gabe and BTJ on the outside. Your 2 high and your zone beaters are Kirk and Ingram all freaking day, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and just to kind of, rub more salt in the wound here, even outside of your startup drafts, he is so easy to acquire. Pulled some trades from DLF for, I think it was last week, but we didn't quite get to him. Christian Kirk for the 209 in rookie drafts. I feel like that's a very nice Christian Kirk spot. I know that's also about where you would be getting Jermaine
I was going to say, Lucas, you're basically telling me it's Kirk versus Burton. So it's like, who do I want more? I mean, like, I kind of take Burton there, but again, the price is not wrong. The price is not wrong.
I go Kirk there, but for the majority, I think you're right. 2.9, 210, 212, easy.
Yeah.
Then Christian Kirk in 106 for Kendre Miller 105. I think that's a pretty easy Kirk side there.
Free Christian Kirk,
Yep. Christian Kirk, Cortland Sutton 25 first for Tank Dale, Josh Downs and 305. I'm kind of leaning the Kirk side there.
Yeah. He's just a guy that you can get tossed in to make a trade happen, and you should be doing that. We love him. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's our bias. I do want to point out a bonus. There is a bonus that I want to hit. Look, I gave you Daniel Jones last week as a big buy for me. Daniel Bellinger is somebody the fantasy community is kind of forgotten about. Look, I know
Wait,
Jacob.
forgotten about. We had to know him first.
I mean, I was
Jacob's
fixing to say he had
laughing.
to be good
Hey.
for us to forget about him. I mean,
Daniel Bellinger's rookie year was not horrendous. It just
I thought you were
wasn't-
going to say a letdown after the combine. Sorry, go ahead, Thomas. Excuse me.
Okay. But look, Darren Waller, right, is somebody that they still don't know is even going to play football this year. We just don't. And Theo Johnson is a late rookie draft pick who long shot to succeed for where he was drafted. He just was. He fell. So that leaves one other guy, and his name's Daniel Bellinger. He's free. He's as free gets. And if you want your 7th to 9th tight end that you're probably rostering on your roster, that could come to fruition, he's just him. Like, we're still drafting Darren Waller at tight end 32. And as I'm looking at this ADP, and to answer the question, what ADP are you guys using by Brian? We're using the ADP courtesy of dynastydatalab.com. Now that we got it sorted out, which one? Daniel Bellinger is going in the 23rd round, tight end 40. He is just as free as it gets. So yeah, there's your bonus. There's your bonus one. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going ahead of him. Darius Slayton, Cedric Tillman, guy's name I can't pronounce. So that's it. That's him. That's our bonus. We're gonna go get negative a little bit. We're gonna get a little negative because I feel like it's important to be grounded. Last week we touched on this player with Ryan Heath. He's somebody that Ryan Heath's new article, which if you haven't gone and read, you absolutely should at fantasypoints.com. But Derek Brown, you, sir, have somebody that you want no part of. And as we were DMing today, you let me know that you have another player who I am in love with, and that will make Jacob maybe audibly gag on air.
I think Jacob's eye is going to twitch when I say all this.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. The player you are most avoiding to help people not completely gaff their drafts right now.
I'm struggling to even get this around because the startup ADP makes no damn sense to me. Josh Jacobs is sitting at RB12 in the 5th round. Did nobody watch Josh Jacobs play football last year? Has nobody seen Josh Jacobs since he absorbed like a metric shit ton of volume and he's not been the same player? And oh, guess what? On top of all of that, he's already dealing with a hamstring issue and we haven't even started camps yet. Like, I can't. I will happily fade Josh Jacobs into eternity. And now he's on this like puffed up ass 4-year deal, which basically is a series of 1-year deals. Green Bay could freaking get out of it after this year. And for everybody hoping that Josh Jacobs bounces back, it's really just hope for me. Like last year, his tackle breaking metrics were nothing short of god awful. And we could all say it was the Raiders offensive line. Zamir White had no problems running through that same damn offensive line and putting up really good stat lines throughout to close the entire year because he could actually break tackles as opposed to what Josh Jacobs did last year with the 12th highest stuff rate amongst all running backs at least 100 freaking carries last year. Jacobs was 37th in missed tackles forced per attempt and 44th in yards after contact per attempt. Like these high volume seasons take it out of guys. They just unless your name is freaking Derrick Henry, they take it out of guys. Like we've seen players even before Jacobs be ruined by these type of seasons. And look, guys, a la somebody that just now retired. David Johnson was never, ever, ever, ever the same guy after he rolled up that massive volume season. DeMarco Murray bounced back, but was still never the same guy. I just don't think we see it. I don't think Josh Jacobs is bouncing back this year. I think he's going to be one and done in Green Bay. And if you're telling me in startups, do I draft Jacobs at that costly price tag on a 1-year deal with crappy tackle breaking metrics last year versus can I wait and get Marshawn Lloyd? Yeah, I'm waiting to get Marshawn Lloyd every single freaking day.
Yeah, and I understand. Look, Jacob missed 1 week and it became a Marshawn Lloyd fest. So I know he's going to chime in here. It's
I'm like Marshawn Lloyd neutral. I'm not part of you guys. It's like Marshawn Lloyd slappy hive, but any excuse to dunk on Josh Jacobs, you can count me in for that.
Right. What it is for
I
me.
was part of the hive before it was cool, sir. So just throw that out there.
There
okay?
we go. That's as always. There's the D-bro hipster point of reference that we need. We need that here because people got to know where to go. But for me, it's that Jacobs just can't be expected to be the bell cow here. Whether it's, I mean, god awful AJ Dillon, please no. But Marshawn Lloyd is going to see the field, especially with how they're already talking about him. Right? If you're not keeping up with Coach Week Index, you should be, because he is a must follow on the amateur porn site known as x.com. But no, I agree. Josh Jacobs, I can't continue to say enough about how far out I am. But Jacob, let's dunk on Josh Jacobs. You weren't here for when we did it, so.
Oh, I mean, I have nothing to add. I mean, Derek hit it. It's this team doesn't use a bell cow running back. They tend to use a platoon system. I wondered when they went out and perplexingly sacrificed Aaron Jones for Josh Jacobs, if that was them signaling like, actually, we care less about efficiency now. We just want a guy who can handle the rock. But nothing in Matt LaFleur's quips so far this offseason about them adding Lloyd, about how they plan to use Jacobs, indicates that they're going to be moving off their approach. So, you know, it's not very hard to get a running back these days. It's just no longer a remotely scarce position. You can get running backs at any part of the draft. You can get them very cheaply in trades. If you're paying any sort of premium for a running back, they either need to be able to show legitimate efficiency juice and pass catching. And if they're not a special efficiency player and they have any sort of premium on them, like they better be getting like 95% opportunity shares.
Yep.
And Jacobs, you know, is an okay receiver. He's not been efficient other than 1 year of his career and not the most recent one. And, you know, he's probably not going to get that type of opportunity share that he had at that point. So I think he's a clear avoid.
Lloyd is RB freaking 44 per this ADP we're looking at, behind Raheem Mostert, behind Gus Edwards, behind Jerome Ford. Like, please do better, people. I dear God, that's bad.
I have a split with him. Brian wants to know, are we buying? We are buying. It is at what price do you feel okay? I've been buying him at 210, 211, just constantly. He's my most drafted rookie at this point. That is how far out I think I'm at 40% rostership so far across roughly 30 rookie drafts. And that number will continue to go up. I think we are buying. It is important to note, though, when we're buying somebody like Lloyd, that we are not buying just to say that we have a piece. You still want to buy him at the cost that he's at. Otherwise, we are defeating the purpose. We can go a little bit higher with cost, but you do not want to be overpaying for this opportunity. That kind of ruins the plan. So I feel like that's important to note. Lucas, you were with us last week when we hit on Josh Jacobs. So I want to go straight to the player that you are avoiding right now.
Unfortunately, it is another running back, and I don't want us to be mean to running backs, but whenever people continually misvalue them, we have to call them out for it. And it's a running back that's actually going ahead of Josh Jacobs right now, and that's Saquon Barkley. See him at RB8 and ADP. He is at 27. He is in the point in his career where his value is going to exponentially decline every year from here on out. 25.5 is the peak age for a running back to be. He is no longer that anymore. His PFF rushing grade was atrocious last season, had him all the way down RB 44. His elusive rating is in the 50s. It is just gross. Yes, he is still breaking some tackles. He is still a powerful running back, but he is not the Saquon Barkley that you are valuing him at RB8. He's not going to have the same touchdown opportunities. I highly doubt he still gets anywhere close to the same amount of work in the passing game as he was getting in New York. There's not a recipe for you to get any sort of value on where you're drafting him right now. I think that he should be going in, I don't want to say the same range as Joe Mixon, because that is gross. Joe Mixon's a whole other level of rough, but put him where the Rachaad Whites, James Cooks are at a minimum. Like, start putting him down instead of round 4. He should be round 7, round 8 at a minimum, if not further down.
I'm right there with you. And the player that I'm going to talk about goes right beside him. So I'm going to piggyback off of this. We're going to do this together as a team, one band, one sound here on these running backs. Before we do, though, we have to take another break. So quick break, be right back, and then we are going to hit these backs. See, it's kind of funny that you mentioned Barkley, because the player that I have that I'm completely avoiding is Travis Ettiene. And to me, they go so close that I feel like we have to lump them in together. These are 25, 27-year-old running backs that are just going entirely too high, in my opinion. You have Saquon Barkley going ahead of Devonta Smith, Michael Pittman Jr., Brock Bowers, Devon Achane. If you're drafting a running back, just make it Achane at this point. But it's Etienne that really stands out to me, because he's going just near some of the Drake Londons, Dak Prescott's, Chris Olave's, Brandon Ayuk's, Trey McBride's. And to me, that's not defensible. This guy is declining in his ability to break tackles, 0.22 missed tackles forced per attempt, second on his own team to the atrocious Tank Bigsby, who had a 0.24. He had an unbelievably large workload last year with over 260 carries, let alone his receptions, which were a lot of screens, a lot of checkdowns, and he ran hot on touchdowns. He ran so hot on touchdowns that one of my favorite statistics when looking up Travis Ettiene this year is that he had I couldn't believe it. He had 6 games where he was great. 5 of those 6 games came before week 9, before their bye week. He had a stretch of 4 straight games where he was absolutely insane, multiple touchdown games, huge points put up. And then he also had week 1. He did not do that again until a week 17 matchup against the Panthers, which if he didn't do that, people would not be drafting him this high, because something a former host, Billy, had mentioned, when you have that last memory of a player being that guy that potentially won you a championship, that can boost that player's value for a long time after that. It just does. It's just how the brain can work. This is somebody whose best output in his season came early. The workload got to him, horrendously inefficient down the stretch. They're already talking about reducing his workload to what we saw towards the end of last year. Again, you can go and find that with Coach Speak Index. You should be. He is just not a guy that I think belongs where he is going at RB6 before guys like Drake London, Brandon Ayuk, Trey McBride, Jaylen Waddle, who we talked about earlier, Tua, Pittman, Smith, Bowers, all guys that I would rather have on my team aside from Etienne. Just drafting Travis Etienne right now at his price is big bozo energy to me.
I agree with the Barkley call. I half agree with the Etienne call. I agree in the sense that like the ADP that we have, that's the masses ADP, so to speak. There's just not a single running back that I would be drafting at that ADP outside of like Hall and Robinson in the first 8 rounds. So I have Etienne ranked about a full round behind that in the overall ranks. I do have him ranked at RB6. I don't think I have any issue with where he's ranked about at the running back position there. You did mention that he was inefficient, especially over the latter half of the year in 2023. But I mean, I watched a lot of Jaguars games. To me, that offense was a mess. They had him doing a lot of things that is not his strength. And I think he is a running back with very defined strengths and weaknesses. He had an extraordinarily efficient 2022 campaign, and I think a slightly more functional version of the offense. And I'm still a big believer in the talent of Travis Ettiene. My concern coming off last season is what lesson would the coaches take away after watching some of the results come in? And would he continue to get a similar workload that we need him to have for fantasy, where he ends up scoring over 16 points per game last year? And I just don't have any concerns, because all they did was re-sign Dearness Johnson And they talk about getting Tank Bigsby more involved. But I guess they just haven't watched Tank Bigsby recently enough to remember that he was like the worst football player in the NFL last year. So I don't find myself being particularly concerned about Travis Etiene's workload. I think he has a reasonably high floor for this season. I want to be betting on this offense. They just picked up his 5th-year option, so he's getting over $10 million now in 2025. I don't see him as a very fragile bet. Again, I wouldn't make him like my buy or anything either in that version of this game. I still have him ranked behind his overall ADP, but I do have him ranked ahead of Devon Achane, just one spot ahead. He is my RB6. Barkley, I agree with you. I think he's better than his results showed in the Giants last year, just because it was such a disaster of a situation. I think he'll be much more efficient this year in Philadelphia. All that being said, you're talking about an older running back who at best can maintain his current value, right? Anything negative, it goes downhill. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going out and buying ETN, so I agree with that. And same point Jacob made, like right now in my current ranks, like I've got him in the same range as running back, but like I got him as my RB8 right now, as far as running back rankings go. But if you look at Superflex ranks, I'm way behind where people are drafting him as well. Like I've got him at 57th overall. There's just I'm just in Superflex, I'm smashing wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks all earlier. I just worry, and I said this pre-show, like Travis Ettiene, like as much shit as Stephon Diggs got last year about how he fell off, it's like we don't give Travis Ettiene the same kind of stuff. It's like he was the Stephon Diggs of running backs. Like this is not crazy. It's not hyperbolic. It's like weeks 1 through 8, he was averaging 22.3 touches per game, 106 total yards. He was the RB4 in fantasy. After week 9, 16.3 touches, 70 total yards per game. He was the RB22, and I think when we look at this offense as a whole, I don't disagree with what Jacob is saying that they were a freaking mess, but I wonder also, are we seeing somewhat of a philosophy change in how they started the year to how they finished the year? Because if you look at it also, Travis Etiene's scoring opportunities, how he ran so hot with touchdowns, what they also changed from in the tale of two halves was the beginning of the season in the red zone. They were the 7th most run-heavy team in the red zone. That back half of the season when Travis Ettiene fell off a freaking cliff, they had the 11th highest passing rate in the red zone. So this offseason, they went out and they invested more in the passing game. They signed Gabe Davis. They draft Brian Thomas Jr. You still have Kirk. We talked about how we love him. You still got Evan Ingram. Like, are the Jaguars going to throw a crap ton more? And ETN, does his workload also go down because they're just going to throw more? I think that could be also a function of how this offense operates this year, as well as we didn't even talk about the fact the offensive line's not great, especially at run blocking. And they didn't change anything with the offensive line this offseason. So a lot of parts or pieces, like I'm not at ETN at cost. And so I don't disagree with anything that's been said here.
Also important to note, the Jaguars are on a playoff push, and they still limited their bell cow backs role. I think that's not something we should ignore. I think you're right in terms of how their philosophy flip. You usually see an increase post bye week, but maybe they did burn him out in that first half. I don't know, but you're right. He is somebody I will say I am interested in investing in after the draft in leagues that already exist. He is much cheaper to attain in already existing leagues than he is in a startup. So that's important to note. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't think ETN will put up points. I think he will, like Jacob laid out, especially with the 5th-year option. They have the franchise tag. They could definitely go that route with him, and he can be there for 2 or 3 more years. He's just cheaper, not in the 3rd round of your draft. Go try and acquire Dak or Drake London and then go and try and trade for Travis Ettiene, and you're going to notice a massive price difference. The fact that he's even near Dak is...
Yeah, that's crazy.
It sends me to the next millennium because he's bad.
My only caveat, and I
it's
mean,
bad.
My only caveat to all this, and the reason why I was saying like I'm not entirely in agreement because I would never draft him at this ADP, is I would bet that like this ADP, the running back ADP is always more favorable in more home type leagues. So to me, I because I don't just like I would bet if people who are watching this show went and did a startup this week, I'd be surprised if Dak Prescott isn't going higher in most of those. Travis Ettiene and all the rest of these running backs isn't going lower than most of those. But I mean, I agree. It's to me, the running back position is it's Bijan, it's Breece, and it's Wait.
It is important to note, though, that we cannot assume everyone's a total degenerate that's done 45 startups this offseason too, though. So I think it is important to hit that side as well. Okay, players.
My guy was Rachaad White, by the way. I mean, it's the same thing we've all talked about. It's basically the Josh Jacobs case on a different team. It's a guy whose entire profile is dependent on volume. Sam Sherman had a great tweet today where he looked at everybody going in the first 4 rounds of ADP or first 5 rounds of ADP on Underdog and their career success rate and rush yards over expectation percentile. Obviously, some of these backs, like a Josh Jacobs, for instance, older running back who has more concern in their recent profile, their career profile looks a little bit better. But Rachaad White, every other running back on this list, 60th percentile or better in rush yards over expectation per attempt. Rachaad White is at the 19th percentile in that mark in his career. The reality is he's a good receiving back. He's just not a good running back. He's put that on tape for 2 years in a row. He's put that in numbers for 2 years in a row. Maybe he's able to still continue in this workhorse role. I do think his ADP assumes that. And to me, kind of only has room to either stay where he is or move down, depending on how that works out.
Yeah, I big agree there. Yeah, I want to push him lower, but I kind of feel like I'm how low is too low? Right now I've got him at, I've moved him anywhere from RB 11 to RB 16. It is not a player that I will trade for. I'm not enamored. If I had him on any rosters, which I don't, I would be trading him away emphatically.
It's also a similar case where there's just another running back you can get cheaper that has a similar skill set. I am not a big Bucky guy. I call him Slow Boy. It's just what he is. But
did you hear the coach speak though on? They threw
White under the bus
or Skip Pete. Someone was like Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving, by the way, probably runs a slower 40 than I do, and they were like, oh, he has the ability to make people miss, and that's something we didn't have last year. And I was like,
yeah,
wow.
that's what.
Bowles was saying he was if we could get explosive plays, and it's something we kind of lacked last year. And I'm like, dude, you just quietly threw Rachaad White under the bus when you should be talking about. We couldn't do explosive plays because we couldn't block for shit last year. That was our big problem. I'm not giving White a pass here, but their offensive line was dreadful and still is dreadful.
Yeah. And like I said, RB 51 for Bucky Irving. It's shout out to Dynasty Zoltan. He's been on this since the draft. Mike has just been absolutely pumping up Bucky, so you can still get him pretty cheap. And it's just another one of those bets where he talked damn near exactly like Josh Jacobs, right? Like Jacob laid out. So love that. It's a lot of bad news for running backs on this program right now. It sucks that it has to be that way, but I'll just quickly, is there a non-running back you want to avoid? Just quick. We don't have to dive deep into it, but just so we can not be the 0 RB boys here on this program, is there a non-quarterback or a running back that anyone can think of offhand?
What's Jamison Williams ADP these days? I don't know.
No. Being drafted is too high. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
It's too high on Underdog. That's my problem. I'm like, as soon as the draft ends, my instant recall knowledge of ADP without preparation is all best ball draft. So it's you give me time to look through the ADP, I can come up with a Dynasty ADP take. But the first thing that comes to my mind when someone's ADP as soon as May, go for it, Derek.
Jordan Addison's rookie season was fraudulent. I'm going to throw that out there. All of his advanced metrics, his targets per route run, his yards per route run were all not great. His touchdowns, the fact that he spiked 10, are extremely helping that man out. So as a player that I don't think the way that I view his rookie season in terms of analytics and where he is, probably per the consensus, where's he at in ADP? I'm throwing out the name and I didn't even look at where he's at in this ADP that we're referencing. Where is he at?
Jordan Addison, wide receiver 24, round 6.
Oh shit, no way. No.
Right. That's not to mention that there are quite a few of those touchdowns whose completion rates were insane. It was Nick Mullins airing it out 400 times, with target competition being damn near nullified. He had a hard time getting on the field when everyone was healthy. So no, I'm right there with you. He's a big fade for me, especially he's going to end up being your, 2 or 3, or second or third wide receiver. And it's not really, look, I know Johnny Detroit, we love you. We appreciate you. JMO catching strays. It's just been a running gag for us that his breakout was 5 catches and that his big breakout in the playoffs was 2 touchdowns on 3 touches and 4 attempts. Like he's just not somebody I want on my dynasty rosters.
I don't disagree with that. I've sold a lot of JMO and exchanged it this year. I drafted a lot of Jameson Williams and I cashed almost all of it out.
We are going to have Brett Whitefield on the program. It's in the works, and we are going to talk Jameson Williams. He is, and I know he's cheap enough that we're cracking jokes. Wide receiver 50 though, still too expensive for me, for my taste.
We got a game to play here.
Yes, I believe. Yes, thank you. Yeah, we're absolutely.
I've been told there's
here.
A game.
Yes. Look, normally at this point of the show, we pivot to questions. Not today. No. We have a new game that we are going to play and probably get absolutely smoked by Jacob on because I have not looked at 2022.
I'm not playing. I'm just hosting. I can't play.
Yeah, we're gonna get smoked by the host.
I still feel like I'm gonna get owned, but anyway.
We haven't looked at 2022 ADP in quite a while, but we're gonna take our last break here, so we can just get through this entire game without a break. We're gonna throw our last break right now. When we come back, Jacob is gonna give us the deets on how this game is gonna work, and the 3 of us are gonna get absolutely cooked. So we'll be right back. Okay, Jacob, explain to us how this is going to work.
Okay, this is simple. This is a trivia game based off of mostly 2022 ADP and somewhat 2024 ADP. So everybody close your ADP windows right now, please.
Okay.
All right.
Some of these questions are going to be for everybody. Some of these questions are going to be to one person.
That is I'm going to cheat face right there by Derek. That was an I am going to cheat face.
Do I have to unhook the camera to show you my other screen? I'm not.
Oh, man.
I'm not.
Let's share
fair and square.
At the end of this game, whoever has the most points wins.
Okay.
Simple enough?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Question 1. Today, there are a total, and by the way, I use this with a slightly different filter of the 2024 ADP than I was corrected to use. I was not going to rewrite all the questions in the pre-show, so if any of these are off, please take that up please take that up in support email. All right. Today, there are 10 total running backs in the top 60 picks or 5 rounds of startups. Just 10. How many were going in the top 60 picks in 2022 startups? The way we're going to do this is everybody's going to guess. Closest, if you're the closest, you get 2 points. You get an extra bonus point if you get 3 points. How many running backs were in the top 5 rounds in 2022 startups? We will start with Derek because he's the guest.
I have a question. Closest without going over or just closest?
No, you can go over. It's just closest.
All right. Not Price is Right rules. Got it.
How many running backs that are current? So there's 10 running backs. Let me just make sure that I'm right on this. There's 10 running backs that are currently in the top 5 rounds. How many of these were still in the top 5 or the top 5 rounds in 2022?
No, but you've spoiled a future question. This is just purely how many running backs total number were going in the top 5 rounds in 2022. Nothing to do with 2024.
Okay.
The 10 was just a guidepost.
2016.
Okay, Lucas.
I'm going to say
Lucas. I swear to God, don't you?
I'm going to say 12.
Okay, I'll say 19.
Okay. The correct answer is 15. Derek, you are on the board with 2 points.
Oh my God!
Love to see it. Now that's probably the only one that I get right. Let's go.
Okay,
right,
we need a
Derek's
screen. We need a screen share by D, bro. I don't believe that.
You also get an additional bonus from getting that question correct, which is that you get to start the next round. Okay? And the way that the next round is going to work is we are going to name all 15 of those running backs right now. And it's going to start with Derek. As soon as... Oh, wait, sorry. I made a mistake. Derek does not get 2 points for being closest with 15. It was 16. He gets 3 points. He got it exactly. I apologize.
Oh my
I
god!
missed the
Oh
guy.
my god!
It just keeps getting better. Let's go.
You nailed it right away. I apologize
Oh.
for being anticlimactic.
I should
All
just walk off. I don't know. I'm not going to do any better than this. I just need to walk
All
off
right.
the show now.
It's just
So it's 1 point
logging
for
out.
each guy. You got to name them. Once you make one strike, you're out. We're going to rotate around. So it's going to go Derek, and then Tom was next closest, and then Lucas. So it's going to go Derek, then Tom, then Lucas. And once you get one wrong, you're out. You get 1 point for everyone you get correct. 2022 top 16 running backs. Go Derek.
Derrick Henry.
That is correct.
Josh Jacobs.
That is also correct.
Najee Harris.
That is definitely correct.
CMC.
Wait a second. You said Derrick Henry was correct. You said Josh Jacobs. That is not correct. That was before his big 2022 season. So you're out. You had said, who did you say? You said Najee Harris. That's correct. Who did you just say, Derek? CMC? You said
CMC.
That is correct. So you're at 2. Lucas is at 1. Tom is already out. Lucas, it's back to you.
Based game.
I'm going to go with Javonte Williams.
That's correct. 2-2. Derek.
DeAndre Swift.
That is correct. 3-2.
Bring it, Lucas.
Austin Eckler.
Correct. 3-3.
Joe
Wait,
Mixon.
let me just double check. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, 3-3.
Joe Mixon.
That is correct. 4-3.
Oh man.
All right. Ezekiel Elliott.
Ooh.
That is incorrect.
Oh
you are
no!
frozen. But Derek, you get to
There
just
was
keep
so
going.
many other
There's nothing
safer
stopping
options.
you.
Why did you go with Zeke?
Yeah, because you're.
I was trying to do a
hold
weird
on.
flex.
I want
It
to see
didn't
the
work out,
glare
all
in
right?
Derek's eyes.
I'm like,
off the
why
reflection.
did you just take the
Derek,
easy answers?
Derek, you can run and hide here. There are 7 names. There are 9 to go, and these other 2 are out. Theoretically, you could still get all 9. Keep going.
Jonathan Taylor.
That is correct. That's the RB1, by the way. It took until guess number 11 to identify the RB1.
There we go. David Montgomery.
That is incorrect. He is the
Oh,
first
okay.
one out.
He was-
RB17.
I figured it was
Can
Close.
I just say I was gonna go Dalvin Cook, but I pivoted
You
last
didn't.
second to Josh
you
Jacobs.
didn't.
Who are the rest? Who are the rest?
So
Aaron
Lucas
Jones
is
is
at
probably
3.
in there.
Derek is at 8. Tom is at 0. So big
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
lead for Derek here. The remainders, I'm not going to name the remainders because they might come up at a later point in the proceedings. So let me double check. Yes, they no, they won't be named, so I will name them. The remainders here that were not said were Dalvin Cook, Antonio Gibson,
Oh,
Cam Akers, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, and Travis Ettiene.
I'm surprised Aaron Jones wasn't in there. That's interesting. Okay.
He's not in there.
shout out
All right.
Cam Akers. Oh my god.
830. Okay. Derek, you were gonna get this question no matter what the order was, but you're gonna get it right away now to really stretch this out.
Okay.
Everybody gets their own question now. Each of the 3 of you.
Oh dear.
6 of the 11 top wide receivers
Oh no.
in 2022 are still in the top 11 today. That means 5 are not. Name those 5 that have since fallen outside of the top 11 in the last 2 years. You get 1 point for however many you can name.
Oh, dirty.
DK Metcalf.
That's correct.
Okay. Is it still on me?
It's still on.
Yeah,
It's
this is
still
all
on
you,
you.
baby.
Shit.
Dun,
DJ
dun.
Moore.
That is not correct. I will
thought it was
give
gonna be
each of the
close.
other 2 an opportunity to steal. Tom,
gonna be
you're in
close.
last, so you get to go first. Can you steal for 1?
Stephon
You
Diggs.
can only get 1. That is incorrect. Lucas, can you steal a point? You
Am
got
I the
4 names.
worst?
It's kind of
Lucas,
looking
you're
like
on mute.
Thomas.
You can't steal when you're on mute.
Lucas can't figure his mute out.
Lucas is pondering his thoughts
Lucas,
right now.
you can
send up the
attempt
name
to
and
steal
smoke
in the
signals,
private
Lucas.
chat.
Come on.
Lucas, you have muted yourself. We're gonna figure this out
just
here.
write it
How
on
is-
a
where's-
post-it.
Am I here? Am I
Yes,
here?
Yeah, you're here.
Yes, you're
here.
here.
You're
Tweet
with
last
us.
week.
I was like, you
I
can write it on a
apologize.
post-it. It's fine.
Devontae
Found
Adams.
him.
You said Devontae Adams? Devontae Adams is correct. That's a point
That's
for
a good call.
Lucas. All right,
That's a
so
good call.
Derek is at 9.
This is bullshit.
Lucas is at 4. Tom is at 0. I will identify the remaining names were T. Higgins, Cooper Kupp, and Deebo Samuel.
Oh,
Damn, T was that high.
Where was Diggs
Wow.
going in 2022? Where was
He was
his
one
limb
away.
sanity?
He was one pick away. Away.
Oh, he was wide receiver 12.
That was
then?
after his bad year. He had the big year, and then he had the bad year, and then he had the bounce back year, and then he had the weird year.
Diggs sanity was not with it
That's
today.
That's the Diggs chronology.
What a contrast.
Attaboy.
Interesting.
All right. We have the next question goes to Lucas, and it's the same idea. 5 of the top 10 tight ends from 2022 are still in the top 10 today. In fact, all 5 of the top 5 tight ends from 2022 are still in the top 5 today. Now, that'd be very easy if I was asking you to name those tight ends. I'm asking you to name the other tight ends, the 5 tight ends who are no longer in the top 10 today. And it's the same deal. You get up to 5 points. If you get one wrong, they get a chance to steal.
Right,
And
so
if you're
they're
watching
not in the
along
top
with us,
10.
by the way, feel free to guess alongside us. Feel free to help
Yeah,
them
so-
out.
They're not in the top 10, correct?
These are tight ends that were in the top 10 2 years ago and are no longer.
Darren Waller.
That is correct.
Mm.
All right, then now
That's gonna be-
it's going to get rough. Oh my gosh! All right. Oh,
That was the
you
easy
want
one.
to say
Yep.
Cole Kmet?
That is incorrect.
No.
Yeah.
Chance to
He never
steal
got that
goes
high.
to Tom.
We're looking for top 10, huh? Let's go
Yeah.
I know
Evan
one
Ingram.
name.
That is that's the opposite. He's in the top 10 now. He wasn't in the top 10 then.
Yeah, no, he was coming off the bad Giants years.
Yeah. Derek, you can steal.
George
Extend the
Kittle.
lead. George Kittle is still in the top 10, but he certainly was in the top 10 then. The other names were Dallas Goedert, Pat Freiermuth, Dalton
Damn it,
Schultz, and
Goddard's gonna
Dawson
be the
Knox.
Brian Ford got
Dawson
Freiermuth.
Knox.
Oh,
That's,
my gosh.
Life-
Wow,
Okay.
Dawson
License that you
Knox was
passed.
that high?
Brian,
was that after the
Brian
year where he
Ford
spiked
got
all the
Muth.
touchdowns? Is that it?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Brian Ford
that's
got
why.
Muth and Goddard. So I've chosen to update the standings. The standings now are that Derek is at 9, Lucas is at 5, Brian Ford is at 2, and Tom is at 0. Brian Ford is currently
Who invited
eating-
Jacob
eating
back?
Tom.
Like, I was doing so well when you weren't here.
I thought I was gonna hate this
All right.
game, but I love it. This is a great game.
Okay, good news is for Tom. Tom, you get this is your round. This is your chance to make a comeback. Okay.
I'm not.
Come
I'm
on,
not.
Tom.
All right.
9 points.
Tom,
You got
Ford-
this.
Oh, missed.
He's gonna
Tom.
he's gonna
No.
target me.
No, you know
No.
that's happening.
You're all-
He's
Okay,
gonna give
what's
you,
going
he's
on?
gonna give you
All
negative
time
points if he
question.
can't.
Come on, Thomas.
You got the easiest category here. 14 you know the drill by now. 14 quarterbacks went in the top 3 rounds in 2022. 13 quarterbacks go today. Only 5 of the 14 from 2022 no longer go in the top 3 rounds today. Name those 5 quarterbacks. So the 5 quarterbacks who
Ooh.
dropped out of the top 3 rounds.
Trey Lance.
That's correct. You're on the board,
Ooh,
everybody.
That's
Tom's
a
on
good
the board.
pick.
Tom's
Damn,
on
I
the
didn't even
board.
think
Make sure to
about it.
edit
That's a
in
good pick.
Make sure to
Debo-
edit in a sarcastic cheer in post after that.
Debro,
we
that's
go.
all just crying over how many times I drafted him
You've
there.
you've almost caught Brian Ford with that.
Okay. I need another quarterback that's not there. I'll say top 3 rounds. Top 3 rounds that's not there
Yeah.
now. Top 3 rounds that's not there now. Who are some oldies but goodies?
2 off seasons ago.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go on a limb. Maybe I don't like going on a limb this early. I have to go for it. I'm gonna say Russell Wilson.
That's correct.
Oh,
Let's go.
3
go.
more.
Okay, 2022 top 3 round that's not there. 2022 that's not there. My brain is going haywire. For someone who's not there. Oh my gosh, I'm so tilted to pick.
Brian Ford's trying to help
Former-
you out here in the chat, by the way.
I'll take it. I'll take Deshaun Watson.
That's
Watson.
correct.
I'm gonna take my last kind of deep shot. I don't know if he was a top 3 pick at the time, top 3 round pick, but the last couple of years have been a real downswing. I want to say Aaron Rodgers.
That is incorrect. But you got 3 points, which is pretty darn good. And Lucas, you get a chance to steal one of the last 2 names.
I think I know one. It's gonna make me.
Is
sad.
it Daniel Jones?
That is not correct.
No, he only hit round 4 last year.
Oh God, I'm gonna hate this. I know one of them's probably Justin freaking Fields. I know it. It's
That
gonna hurt me.
is correct.
I knew it.
You have
knew
10
it.
points. Lucas 5, Tom 3. By the way, Brian Ford got them all right in order. It was Watson and Fields and Stafford.
Wow.
Brian Ford is really
Wow.
dominating this group.
He's
We
good.
are going in now. 2 questions left, and this is going to be name that player. So everybody still has a chance to win because there are 2 questions left. Each is worth a maximum of 5 points. So if Derek gets this, he wins. If either if either Lucas or Tom gets this, then the game is still in the balance. Okay. What
If I mute
I'm
Derek and he can't give an answer,
I'm gonna give.
I still have papers, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Here's how this
Can't
works.
silence
Okay?
me, buddy.
I will be giving a clue, one at a time. After each clue, you have the opportunity to guess. You just simply say buzz. Whoever I hear first, buzzes in first, I'll give you the opportunity to guess. If you get it after 1 clue, you get 5 points. If you get it after 2 clues, 4 points, etc., down to 1 point. Here's the catch. If you buzz and get it wrong, you cannot guess again until everybody else has buzzed and gotten it wrong. So let's say Tom buzzes in and gets it wrong. Lucas buzzes in and gets it wrong after the first round. Derek could also try to buzz, or you could pass, and then you're the only one that can guess in the next round. So,
Okay.
everybody understand the rules here.
yeah. Okay, let's go, baby.
Okay,
Don't
clue
be too
number
quick to
1.
shoot your shot. I got it.
This player's 2022 ADP of 55 was their highest ADP of any year this decade.
Their highest ADP this decade. Okay. No, I'm going to be out on that one. ADP 55. I'll be out.
ADP. There was 55 in 2022. You said.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm out.
Anybody? Lucas, you got a guess? Otherwise, we're moving to the next clue.
Come on, Lucas.
I don't
Shoot
have a
a shot.
guess.
3.
Come on, man.
Okay. All right. This player changed teams in the offseason after the 2022 season.
Jesus.
Okay. Okay. He changed teams.
4 points.
He changed teams that off season after 2022.
So going to just to clarify, the year he had his highest ADP at 55 was before the 2022 season because it was in that off season. Then he had a season and then he changed teams.
Okay. 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 I can vibe.
Any guesses? 3,
No, not for me.
2.
No.
No one's buzzing in.
No.
Okay.
No. I'm looking at
All right.
team names.
I'm
now.
trying to
Third
ignore.
clue.
I'm trying to ignore the chat too.
Third clue.
Yeah, I'm not
3
looking at chat.
points. This player's team drafted a player at the same position they play at pick 150 in the 2024 NFL draft.
Pick 150. Oh my God.
So remember, if someone wants to guess, they got to say buzz for 3 points.
At
5. Can I buzz?
150?
Yeah, buzz.
T. Higgins.
Incorrect.
Oh!
But anybody else like to buzz? If you don't buzz, that means you get guaranteed first guess ahead of Tom next round. Lucas, you're in.
Muted.
You went on
can't
mute.
hear you. Jesus Christ, Lucas. This is.
Still muted.
He's saying DJ Moore, but we can't hear him.
Can you put it in the private chat? I don't know who you're saying.
He said, I'm going to guess he said DJ Moore. See, there he is back on mute again. I can't unmute you.
Oh, he's saying DJ Moore in the private chat. DJ Moore is incorrect. This means, Derek, if you want, you can guess now, and then everybody can guess next round. Or if not, you're guaranteed first guess next round.
I'm waiting.
You're waiting.
I
All
don't
right.
have a
Okay.
freaking
First
clue
guess.
right now.
Okay, so first guess will go to Derek. I'll recap the clues we have so far. 2022 ADP of 55 was their highest of any point this decade. They changed teams after the 2022 offseason. They drafted a player at the same position at pick 150 this year. And they played college football at Fresno State University.
Oh,
Derek is the only one that can guess right now.
I mean, is that the only person that I'm getting out of Fresno is Devontae? But I mean, is that not high enough? Devontae Adams, I guess.
Not correct. Tom
Buzz.
Lucas.
I felt like I got set up.
Derek Carr.
Tom buzzes. It's
Yeah.
Derek Carr.
Yeah,
There you go.
that was my other
There we
pick.
go.
I was gonna say it's either Carr or Adams.
Let's go. We're
but
back,
I didn't
baby.
think I didn't think the ADP was high enough on him.
We're back, baby.
So that was the year that Adams had just gotten traded there. He got a big boost up of ADP. All the excitement didn't go well.
Yeah.
The Saints. Spencer Rattler, of course, is the player who got drafted at 150. He plays Fresno. So
I
Derek
needed that
10,
bad.
Lucas 5, Tom 5.
We're back,
The
baby.
unfortunate thing here for Tom and Lucas is that this would mean that they would need to get it with one clue to tie. But the good
Okay.
news for Tom and Lucas is that I've decided to double the points this round. So that
Yeah,
everybody-
let's go.
What is this? What kind of what kind of wizardry is this? Oh, come on!
Let's go, baby.
This is a fixed
He's
rig
excited
game.
because the Celtics
No,
got
I'm
a dub. That's
Or-
what he
I was
is.
fixing to say.
He's
This man's too high on vibes right now. I can't. This is
All right.
some.
Let's go. Let's go.
Clue.
Let's go.
Okay, same rules. Clue number 1.
Well, I mean,
This
same rules.
player's-
Do you want to change them again? Ah,
I do call him flip floppity for a reason, Derek.
jeez, man.
Clue number 1. This player's ADP of 47 in the 2022 offseason was a substantial decrease from their ADP in the previous offseason.
Buzz.
Lucas?
DeAndre Swift.
Incorrect.
Ooh,
Derek
that's
or
a good
Tom?
guess,
Lucas.
though.
Hell no, I'm not guessing.
Okay. From 2021 to 2022 was a stark drop.
Correct. Yeah.
2021 to 2022 was a steep drop. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'll go.
If you guess right now and they're wrong, that means Debro automatically wins. I'm just going to throw
Well, he
that
doesn't-
out there.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't
Doesn't
auto
matter.
win.
No. Jacob can
He
change
just-
the
he
rules
just gets
again.
first
Don't worry
guess.
about that.
He just gets
No.
first guess.
He gets
Yeah.
first guess.
But he technically
You guys
doesn't
have
have
to
to
I'll
guess
go-
it by.
I'll say
guys have
Javonte
to
Williams.
guess. That is incorrect. Derek, would you like to guess now, or would you like to
No.
preserve first guess? Okay.
I'm preserving.
So
it.
next
Yeah.
round, Derek gets first guess. The other two can only guess if Derek gets it wrong. Clue 2. This player's ADP is currently 269th overall.
Oh,
So they were higher in 21 than 22. They were 47 in 2022. They are now 269th.
Oh, sweet hell.
3 guess for Derek.
Jeez. Good Lord, why am I drawing blank?
A lot of good guesses.
Dude, I'm drawing a massive blank right now. Like I've got such a brain fart right now.
Does he pass or does he go for it?
I'm gonna pass, man. I don't know.
Okay.
Freaking guess.
He passes.
I really don't.
So you pass to the next round. So since we're going to the next round, which is the last one with enough points available that Lucas or Tom could win, Derek will have to guess first. If you guess first, you win. If you don't guess correctly, or if you pass, Lucas and Tom, you can't pass for 2 rounds in a row. Lucas and Tom get the chance to then guess for the win, but you will get the chance to guess first.
Okay.
If everybody
Okay.
gets it wrong, Derek wins because there wouldn't be enough points available. Okay. This player's name invokes a name of an imperial unit of measurement.
What? An imperial unit of measurement.
Only somebody with the metric system at hand would think of this. Only somebody. Lord.
I should know this as well, but now I'm second guessing
Derek,
everything
you get free guess.
that I thought I knew.
If you don't guess or you don't get it right, then they get the chance to guess here.
Person's name being
Oh,
drafted.
sweet hell.
They're drafted highly in 21, fell to 47 in 2022, and their name is an imperial unit of measurement.
That is an insane question.
That is crazy.
You'll know it if you think of the name, but I guess if you don't think of the name, then you might not know it.
Thanks.
Well,
that really helps.
thanks for that.
That helps
Yeah,
so
that's
much.
so-
Wow, that really just. I mean, wow.
Lawyers,
I
bro.
absolutely know the name now.
Lawyers.
That gave
I'm
it
telling
away.
you. Lucas, you're muted again, by the way.
Sweet hell.
Okay, he knows this time. Okay.
I've got nothing, man. Like this is really good.
Okay.
I got
Lucas. Lucas has got a hand up. He's buzzing in. Lucas for
Miles
the win.
Sanders.
No, that is incorrect.
Nothing. Did you say
Tom, for
Bob
the win.
Sanders?
Tom, if
No,
you get
Miles.
this, you win. If you don't, then Derek
Oh.
gets it no matter what.
Okay.
Or wins no matter what. We'll play this question out regardless.
Oh my God, a unit of measurement. I'm not
Unit
going to
of
be able. I'm
freaking
not going to be
measurement?
able to think of this. I'm sitting here. I've been trying to rack my brain. I'm trying to just think of who's 256 right now. Like
Same.
who's-
I'm trying to think of
who's
buried
that
right now.
low?
269.
269,
that
even
high.
lower. I've got to say, one of the biggest fall offs that I've ever seen in fantasy football. It's Dalvin Cook.
It is not Dalvin Cook.
No.
All right, so Derek will win this game regardless, but we're gonna play out this question. This
That's
player's
brutal.
breakout performance in their rookie season occurred on Thursday night versus the New England Patriots.
Oh my God.
Dude, you're killing me with these.
His breakout performance was against the New England Patriots.
On
You
Thursday
are
Night Football.
killing
rookie.
me with these.
Lucas?
Is it Kareem Hunt?
It's not Kareem Hunt.
Darn.
What
do you measure in Hunts?
I have nothing to lose.
What do you measure in
You measure things in Hunts and Kareems? Like,
I don't
no,
know.
four Kareems equal one Hunt. Like, what do you? What? What?
I don't know. I'm trying to think,
What are you
man.
measuring with over there, Lucas? Like, dude.
Oh my
No.
God.
Kilometer. It's
What?
close enough.
What?
This
No.
is an absolutely insane,
All right.
diabolical.
Does anybody got a guess, or I'll give the last clue?
Good Lord. I mean, I'm just trying to find anybody's name that, like, going through the Rolodex that's a measurement. Like, what the hell are we doing
Nah,
here?
I can't. Like that is such an insane question.
That's
Oh
what's
my
throwing
goodness.
me here. I'm like,
You guys are gonna get it when you hear it. All right, last clue. This player donned the number 3 at Florida State University.
You son of a gun. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's
Jacob.
Cam Akers, you son of a. Oh my
Akers.
God.
Acres of land.
Oh my God.
oh, what that? Oh, come on. What? That. Oh, that's. Damn, that was really good. Yeah, I got a problem. That was very good. I'm sitting here thinking of metric units of measure, and I'm like, dude, there is nobody
This is
named
why-
kilometers.
This is
like,
why
what are
I
we doing
specifically
here?
said, well, kilometers is metric, not imperial. And specifically, I didn't say is a unit. I said invokes a unit of measurement.
I would,
So
I
that's
do,
why
I would like to also mention that nothing is ever measured in Kareems nor Hunts. Okay, just so everybody is aware. Like, we really like. I know the U.S. educational system is dropped a lot right now, but Lucas, like, dude, come on.
It's even more
lawyers,
fun
bro.
considering I have a master's in engineering, so that
Oh
makes that
my-
way funnier, but yeah. I don't know.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God. This
Please,
show
for
is
the
epic.
sake of
That
your
sounds
university, just don't mention where you went to school.
We all know it was Tennessee, baby, so don't worry about
I
it.
mean, it's all over my room.
Oh man. To
Oh,
be
my
fair, the
Lord.
great ADP game. Derek comes in first
Yeah.
place. Lucas
Oh, my
comes in
gosh.
second place. I believe Tom and Brian
Ooh.
Ford were tied for third.
All right, shout out you,
Wow,
shout out you
dude.
and me, Brian, and I owe you an assist on even getting there, so I'll take fourth.
Wow.
Unbelievably amazing.
Oh man, when
that
you guys
got
had
me.
already
This
mentioned
show.
Cam Akers earlier in the show, I thought I was.
I
screwed.
know.
I was so happy
That-
with that. and
no,
then it
that
already
got
was
me,
like, oh, they're
dude.
gonna think of it immediately, and then it just.
That's unbelievable. Look, I want to take a quick break so we can settle down for just a second. But as we wind down here, so we can let Derek go and enjoy the rest of his evening, so we don't keep him here for 2.5 hours. But respect for you for hanging. I want to get one player from everyone who we think is going to be on the next edition of this game when we play it next time. So quick break, and then we're going to give who we think is going to be the next trivia question. Okay. Setting up the next trivia question as we make our way out of here. Who do we think is going to have a cataclysmic fall from where they are right now? Since Jacob, you didn't get to play the game, I'm going to ask you first.
Oh, the name that I was going to mention before we got some bad news on him today, so maybe he's even going to become a buy. But the name that sticks out is Kyren Williams to me, where, I'm doing this game. I'm looking at this Rams running back, and we know that there's a double-edged sword of the Sean McVay workhorse back, which is, when it's going well, it's going well. When it's going poorly, all of a sudden somebody else is getting that workload. Somebody else the one who gets to stay on the field. I do think that they're going to try and operate with Kyren as the lead, and I think that they brought in Corum as a way to solve the problem of how do we not have these issues that we've had in the past when we can't rely on one back and we have to make substitutions while not giving Kyren 100% of the work. I think they go drive by drive or 2 drives to 1 drive. But I also now see, you get this foot injury, 3 seasons in a row of injury concerns. I think that Blake Corum is a pretty impressive player and especially fits what they want to do quite well. He's just strikes me as someone that is high on the index of answer to a trivia question if things go poorly for him. But certainly think he also starts the year as the lead back. It's you never predict falls to ADP of 269.
That's crazy. D-Bro, who do you think is going to potentially be the next trivia question?
So I'm going to change the rules here like Jacob did.
Fair,
I would rather go with
Guest of
Meteoric
honor.
Rise.
Okay. Back to positivity.
So, yeah, to flip this on its head a little bit, I'm going to throw out Luke McCaffrey here. He has a really easy path to targets this year. I am not enamored with Jahan Dotson. Nobody should be. It's been 2 disappointing seasons in a row. What else is in that offense? You have Terry McLaurin and a lot of question marks. I love Ben Sinnott, but how much does he play? Then you got Zach Ertz? Luke McCaffrey has an easy path to playing time. He's still coming around as far as a player, and a player that I've been higher on the entire process. So when he got the draft capital, he did, and now he lands in Washington. There's a clear path for him to be the number 2 target in that offense this year. So give me him for the meteoric rise.
Yeah, you don't have to talk me into Luke McCaffrey. He was a big deal for me come draft night, and we have been talking about him. I was talking about him with Scott Barrett when he was on our program last as well. He is a big time buy for me. I like that. I like that you spun it that way. I, however, prefer the negative in this because I find it more fun. A top 4 round, I'm going Nico Collins. Nico Collins, wide receiver 18. I talked about him last week as being someone that I want to avoid simply because he's the earliest drafted wide receiver in the Texans room, and I just don't want to bet on that. His insane breakout season kind of came out of nowhere due to some happenstance, but now we have some legitimate competition in that room. Healthy Tank Dell. We're bringing in Diggs. Maybe Diggs is washed. Maybe he's not. Maybe some regression. However, if Nico does not absolutely ball out again, I think his 4th round ADP is going to plummet somewhere into the Keenan Allen range next year. Maybe someone gives him the big contract and all that. I don't know, but I think he's in danger territory at 18. So that's it for me. Nico, Lucas, give us a head nod or a head shake. Let us know what's up as you're still muted, so we can get you involved here for the end. Doesn't look like it, but you know what I'll do? I'm gonna tell you, Lucas, as he says James Cook, and I'm inclined to agree with that as well. Running back, shaky situation. Look, love the draft pick that the Bills made. I think Ray Davis is a phenomenal player. Might be a better running back overall than James Cook, my opinion, but I'm not that big on James Cook. And yeah, absolutely, he's one of those guys, but I mean, he's one injury away from it being Jover. Toronto Dave called him Nico Bustman. I love that. He's just too high. He's too damn high. If you ask me, Derek, you are a phenomenal analyst, great human being. Going to the expo this year?
Oh, of course. I'll be there, buddy. I think
see
we're
you there,
rolling
BB.
6 or 10 people deep from Fantasy Pros all going. So yeah,
Love
we'll have it rolling deep. It'll be a good time as always, man. I can't wait.
Hell yeah. I will see you there, sir. It'll be nice
Love
to catch up in person for sure.
First round on me, buddy.
Oh baby, I guess I'm getting second and third after that game. God damn.
Ooh, let's go.
Hey, love that. Obviously you do a ton of work over there at Fantasy Pros. Do you have something specific that you're working on now you're super excited about?
Yeah, right now I'm switching over to best ball and redraft stuff. So this should be out next week. It's really the big labor of love. It's my perfect draft article, which will be updated throughout the entire off season. I'll walk through every round. I'll literally write up like 60 plus guys for this article. So walking through the beginning first few rounds, I'm walking through like the middle, the early, middle, and later parts of each round, who I'm targeting. You can apply this to redraft. You can apply this to best ball. And again, I'm going to keep updating this throughout the offseason as ADPs shift because we know they are. So yeah, that's really my big labor of love. And then it's just all the things redraft coming from Fantasy Pros. We're going to have our redraft kit. It's going to be live on June 1st. Best ball kit as well. So whether you're in the redraft streets or the best ball streets, check us out.
Man, I love that. Jacob, you always have thinking about thinking. You're constantly pushing that. You actually just released something the other day. Let the people know you took a little break.
Just took a little break after the rookie draft craze, but I'm back with hot best ball summer now. So I did an introductory article on the 2024 best ball economy, or at least my thoughts on it, how I'm kind of an overarching macro view of how I'm constructing teams within this ADP landscape. And yeah, there will be best ball content just continually pumping out every so often in your inboxes for the next several months. So you'll have that to look forward to up on TAT.
Love that. And of course, link to Thinking About Thinking is going to be in the description. Everything at Fantasy Points is growing. We are pumping out more and more content than we ever have, especially on the video and audio side. You heard Derek Brown. You can find him at dbro_FFB over on the Bird app there. But things are definitely changing. You can catch the Fantasy Points podcast now with John Hansen and Brian Drake. NFL First Read, as it was alluded to earlier, just kicked off with Brett Whitefield and Joe Marino.
Fantastic show. I hit up Brett right after I listened to it. That was an amazing show. So people need to listen to it.
It was a great program. That will be weekly. We have so much more new podcast feeds getting developed just because we are pumping out so much great content. We're going to have more on that as we go. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone that tunes into this program week over week. You have pushed us to a point where Dynasty Points is the most consumed content on the Fantasy Points network everywhere. And I can't speak enough about how that makes us feel, coming from a small little podcast from a couple of friends that just talk football too much. So we love all you guys. You want to hop in the Discord? It's easy to do. Head to fantasypoints.com, get in there because that's where we answer the majority of your questions and provide the content that you guys are asking for. All these shows are based on content that you guys are asking for. If you haven't already, hit like and subscribe, all that mess, all that business. Derek, I love when you come onto this program, man. We're going to do it
That was a good time, man.
a lot more often. Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone watching. I want you to remember to check in on your loved ones, even if you're not sure that they need it. Remember that clear eyes and full hearts can never lose in your best days. Goddamn, they're always spent tilting. Good night, everybody.
What? Why are you shaking your head? You're welcome.